Hey guys, what's going on? Michael Remis here for episode 3 of Live from Remis's Basement. Thank you so much for tuning in. We've had a great first 2 episodes with Matt Leibel and Jesse Pollock talking Jets, talking hockey, Winnipeg sports. So thank you so much for tuning in. If you like this channel, like this content at all, please post a comment, hit the like button, hit subscribe. That is a huge, huge help to the channel. We're about to start episode 3. I'm going to be joined by my guest, Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. We're going to get into some Jets talk, last night's game versus Ottawa, Pierre-Luc Dubois' debut, the state of the defense, and a couple guys who just got sent down to the Manitoba Moose. So stick around, and I'll be right up with my guest, Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. Thank you again so much for tuning in. Mike McIntyre of the Winnipeg Free Press. He covers the Jets. Check him out on Twitter, Mike McIntyre Winnipeg. Does excellent work. Mike, thank you so much for coming to my basement, for this chat.
There's a lot of mics in basements here because I'm also in my basement. You've got a big mic in front of you, Mike. Yeah. Overdose of mics here, but good to be on. When I saw your first edition, I think I kind of lobbied for a spot here, and so I was touched when you extended the invite.
Of course, Mike, I love your work at the Free Press, so if you do want to check it out, please subscribe to the Free Press and check out Mike on Twitter and Instagram, Mike McIntyre WPG. We're here to talk Jets. We want to get to last night's game. Jets beating Ottawa 5-1. The first period wasn't great. They did win by 4 goals. Can you read anything into any game any team plays versus Ottawa this season? They have 2 wins, clearly the worst team in the league.
It's crazy that those 2 wins have come against Toronto and Montreal, arguably the 2 best teams in the division. Look, they play hard, they try hard. I honestly feel kind of sorry for Ottawa, especially the young kids on that team. They don't have a lot of talent right now, and they are the free space on the NHL's bingo card, really. I would set the over-under in single digits, really, for wins for that team in a 56-game season. So if you're a team like the Jets that you believe you're a contender, you got to beat Ottawa. And the Jets, to their credit, have now done that 4 out of 4 times. They'll get them 6 more times this year. The Jets may be a little bit lucky in that they are one of the 2 teams that get Ottawa that extra game, and who knows how much that might mean in the long run to get them 10 times instead of 9. The Jets look like a team in the first period last night that thought they could just come out and go through the motions and win easily. You could get away with that against Ottawa. You probably can't against most other NHL teams. But yeah, I would hesitate to read a whole lot into victories over Ottawa, just as I would to put a lot of stock in the early season standings in this division. Right now, I mean, the Jets have played Ottawa 4 times. Vancouver's beaten up on them 3 times, Edmonton a couple. But then there's teams like Calgary, I don't believe has even played Ottawa yet. So you almost need to separate the standings, have the real standings, but then show the ones with and without the games against the Senators, because that's probably a better reflection of where everybody's at right now.
It's funny. I saw people on Twitter unhappy yesterday that the Jets, didn't win in the way that you'd like to see them win. Well, they won the game by 4 goals, and they sleptwalked through the game. So I don't think you can take anything away from that game. But there's a couple things going in. The lineup, 11 forwards, 7D. They wanted to ease in Poolman. Again, is it just a case of them playing Ottawa and saying, you know what, we're just going to try some stuff out and see what happens?
Yeah, I didn't like the 11-7 format before the game started. I really hated it after 1 period. The Jets looked like a team that had no idea who was playing with who on any given shift. I tweeted that it reminded me a little bit of back when I coached my kids at Timbits level, and you just throw the next 5 kids sort of over the boards and everybody would be all over the ice. The Jets looked discombobulated. I think as the game went on, one of the things that happened is Tucker Poolman obviously had the legs that maybe Paul Maurice was worried he wouldn't after a month away from action due to getting COVID. Poolman's ice time kind of remained steady. Logan Stanley basically became the 7th defenseman, and the Jets went into a more traditional 6D rotation. They also used the extra forwards, which were Matthew Pro and Trevor Lewis, kind of sparing. We actually just finished up with Paul Maurice here this afternoon after Jets practice, and I asked him, are you going back to that 11-7 tomorrow or anytime soon? And the only question mark is Pierre-Luc Dubois left practice today early. He's probable for Saturday's game, but it sounds like, Remis, if Dubois can play, the Jets will not be doing 11-7, and I say good riddance to it.
Yeah, I agree. As someone who's played a lot of beer league and low-level hockey, I can say that the consistency with line mates always makes things easier, and you know who you're playing with. You can get into a rhythm throughout the game. That's just a guy sitting in his basement who's played a lot of low-level hockey saying that. Nowhere near the NHL level. Pierre-Luc Dubois, you mentioned him. He made his debut. He played 13 minutes on Tuesday's game against Calgary in the loss. Got up to 17 and a half. What have you seen from him so far, and can we get those minutes up there?
Well, 4.5-minute jump from game 1 to game 2, and I thought he had more jump. This would probably be a normal thing. You come to a new team, you don't really know anybody, you probably defer a lot. You're not maybe the same aggressive self, or you don't think me first, don't think selfishly. So maybe he's passing a little too much. I'd like to see him shoot the puck, start shooting the puck. He did have 3 shot attempts. They all went wide last night. He looks like a guy who didn't play an NHL game for 3 weeks and spent 2 weeks in quarantine. That is to say that the conditioning probably isn't quite there. The comfort level isn't quite there. But we've seen little flashes of what he can do. And, his speed for a big man, does he ever move on the ice. And, I think it's just about finding some regular line mates. He's been with Kyle Connor now 2 straight games. They had Trevor Lewis on that line in game 1. Wasn't a big fan of that. They had Blake Wheeler there last night. Is that what that line's going to look like for the short term anyways? Probably. And so I think once he gets a few more practices in, once he gets the lungs kind of back up to full capacity, we'll start to see him emerge. And I'm sure there's a little extra pressure on him, right? He's in a big market, big Canadian market with, hockey fans like Winnipeg. He can no doubt see what the guys he got traded for have already done in Columbus. Jack Roslovic looks like, the best player in the league right now, the way he's putting up goals and points. And Laine is making headlines kind of for all the wrong reasons. But, everybody's kind of waiting for Dubois to have his breakout game, and maybe it comes Saturday. But I do think we've seen improvement from game 1 to game 2, and I expect that'll continue here.
Yeah, I'm not going to jump to any conclusions on Pierre-Luc Dubois after 2 games after this quarantine layoff. But if you're a Jets fan, I mean, it's tough to see Roslovic being a point-per-game player and Laine, making headlines and also putting up points. And the Jets player, Dubois, I mean, hadn't even played a game until Tuesday.
Yeah.
And now he's pointless. So, I mean, how shocked are you at this Jack Roslovic? And is he now a top-line center, or is this just one of those hot streaks that we've seen him go on in the past?
I think a little bit of both. I mean, I think there is a player don't forget, he was drafted 25th overall. This isn't some late-round guy that everybody was kind of just hoping. That there's some legitimate talent there, no doubt. And, the ceiling was kind of blocked here in Winnipeg in terms of his desire to be a top 1 or 2 center. And I know there's some people saying, oh, well, for a couple of years, everybody wondered who's the number 2 center in Winnipeg. Maybe they had him all along in Jack Roslovic. I'll remind people they gave Jack Roslovic a bit of a look there, including last season. And I don't think the returns, there was some good play for sure, but very inconsistent play, which isn't uncommon in young players. Look, this is a kid who got his wish. He's playing for his hometown team, his beloved Blue Jackets. With that, no doubt comes some pressure, but he wasn't the main piece of this trade. Patrick Laine was. I think a lot of people almost just thought of him as a throw-in, right? Well, he's proven to be potentially a lot more than a throw-in. And I'm sure there's a little extra motivation there to make, everybody kind of regret, second-guessing him or whatever. So good for him. He's playing elevated minutes and in an elevated role. Whether he can continue that, I don't think Jack Roslovic is a point-a-game player, for the next 10 seasons in the NHL. He's playing with Patrick Laine right now, which, I suspect Jack Roslovic is happier about the way it's gone than Patrick Laine is. For one thing, we know Patrick Laine had a bit of a rough start with a bit of a run-in with an assistant coach, a high-profile benching. He has scored 3 goals, including 2 in one game. Got a couple of assists as well. But I don't know that Patrick Laine envisioned Jack Roslovic being his center back when he was sort of pining to play with Mark Scheifele.
Yeah, I'll agree with that. I mean, I think Jack Roslovic definitely showed flashes here. I mean, he can skate. He's got moves. We saw that beautiful goal earlier this week. Yeah. And it's a matter of opportunity for him. And he did, I agree, he showed flashes here. And then when he was good, I remember that game against Anaheim where he scored, 4 goals? They gave him a look after. He did get some power play one time, but it never really panned out into anything. So I am happy to see him. But this is a trade, as I've said before. We're going to be talking about it, I think, for 10 years. I mean, it's a superstar trade, so we'll see how it goes. And I don't think you can jump to any conclusions now over anything.
The other thing to remember, of course, is you can't really even evaluate the full value either way until we see, does Patrick Laine re-sign in Columbus? And if he doesn't, do they flip him for something before he gets to UFA? Does Pierre-Luc Dubois re-sign in Winnipeg? And if the Jets don't re-sign him, do they flip him for something else before he gets to UFA? So there's still a lot of chapters to be written in this one. And to me, whether one or both players ultimately stay long-term with the teams that they were traded to, that will go a long way to kind of determining the winners and losers of a trade.
Yeah, definitely. And another former first-round pick, Christian Vesalainen, sent down to the Moose of the AHL from the taxi squad today. A couple of transactions. It's nice that the Canadian AHL has their schedule moving forward. What do you make of today's roster transactions and what it means for the Jets lineup moving forward?
Well, so a couple things. I mean, the Manitoba Moose, as we know, are getting set to start their season next Monday, and they're going to have a really busy start here. They're playing 4 home games in 5 nights in LNCS Place next week. So for guys like Dylan Samberg, Ville Heinola, who were on the taxi squad, they were obviously getting to work out and practice with the Jets, usually coming on at the tail end of practices. This is a chance to get them the reps, the big minutes that we're just not going to be there right now at the NHL level. Get those pro minutes in, play a big role on a young Moose team. And so I think it's a real good thing. And it's going to happen, in the same town. They don't have to travel. This is good for their long-term development. I know there's people, and I'm one of them. I'd like to see Ville Heinola get another look with the Jets sooner than later. Dylan Samberg hasn't had, so much as one exhibition game in his NHL career yet. So I don't mind this move of just getting them some work. And I think, if they produce like we think they will, these guys will be back at the NHL level. I mean, Christian Vesalainen potentially could be in the Jets lineup tomorrow if Pierre-Luc Dubois can't go. A lot of this is cap management, what the Jets are doing in terms of sending guys down on off days. Vesalainen, if you look, he's kind of yo-yoed a bit here between the taxi squad, the NHL team. David Gustafsson is another guy that's done that as well. And they're just trying to manage the cap and the space that they have. So I think Vesalainen is probably going to stick around here for a bit. He may not be a regular in the Jets lineup as the main 12 guys, especially with Nate Thompson and Jansen Harkins both looking like they're close to a return from injury. But I do think Vesalainen, early in this young season, has cemented himself as maybe that 13th, 14th forward, and a guy that we're probably going to see go between the Jets, the taxi squad, the Moose, kind of all over the place here for the next few weeks.
Yeah, we are seeing a lot of teams, move their young guys to the taxi squad just to, get that cap savings. So yeah, today Vesalainen from the taxi squad to the Moose, Samberg, Heinola to the Moose as well. I'd like to see them get a shot eventually. I think it will come. We'll have to wait to see what happens with injuries and play. And last one, Mike, Nikolaj Ehlers on the score sheet again yesterday, 2 points. I mean, it's amazing to me what this guy's been doing. He's been the Jets' best forward, and now he's on the top line with Scheifele and Kopp, still not getting that power play one time. Is there any way he could even work to get some more ice time, and could we see, more production from him?
Scary thought, isn't it, given how much he is producing, that there's still maybe another level or two there, and that would include some heavier minutes, which Nikolaj Ehlers, I mean, look, his big asset, his big weapon really is his speed, and I think Paul Maurice believes that, maybe scaling those minutes back a little bit is a way to get Nikolaj Ehlers, the best of Nikolaj Ehlers. So if he was playing, 22, 23 minutes a game, maybe we wouldn't see that explosive speed quite as much. You almost prefer to have sort of short, successful bursts of Ehlers than maybe prolonged exposure that they think negates his value. But yeah, there's no question, like, this is a guy who really I thought had a nice breakthrough in the playoff bubble last year. I know the Jets quickly got eliminated by the Flames, but it was no fault of Nikolaj Ehlers, a guy that kind of had the weight of, well, he always disappears kind of when the stage gets biggest, right? He hadn't scored a playoff goal. Well, he was in that bubble, and he was a very prominent player for the Jets, and he's carried that over now to start this young season, lead the team with 9 goals. He's up there among the league scoring leaders, and the sky seems to be the limit for Ehlers. Still a young player, still a lot of room for development, and he's a great weapon for sure for the Jets to have. And there was some talk a while ago, might Nikolaj Ehlers be on the trade market? That was back when Patrik Laine was here. I think moving Laine kind of ensures that Nikolaj Ehlers, he's got a great contract, very value contract for the Jets. Like, he's going to be a Jet here for the long term, and the Jets are luckier for it.
Yeah, I agree. I love watching Nikolaj Ehlers play. When he gets the puck, I think it's always in for excitement. He's got speed, he can move, and you're seeing him use his shot a lot more this season. And Mike, so this has been it. It's a great conversation. Thank you for coming into the basement with me. You're also in your basement.
Yes,
so
I like the basement better. I got the nice fireplace, which does give off real heat, but I like your jersey collection, and love the show.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Yeah, we talked about a lot. The Jets game against Ottawa, the lines, Poolman, Dubois, Roslovic, and Laine, what they're doing in Columbus. So again, thank you so much for coming on the show, and hopefully we can do this again in the future.
You bet.
So that was my conversation with Mike McIntyre from the Winnipeg Free Press. If you somehow made it this far to the end, thank you so much. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, please, it would be a big help. Post a comment, what you think of the Jets lines, what you think they should do, what you thought of the win versus Ottawa. Hit the like button on the video, and please subscribe to the channel. I hope to be delivering these a couple times a week. And if you do like this, hit me up. All my social medias are in the description. Most active on Twitter. I do have a Twitch stream in the evenings. So appreciate you finding this and coming out and making it all the way to the end. Until the next time, see ya.